Hello, dear friends. Welcome to the continuation of our series on when histamine goes haywire and how essential oils can help support balanced histamine levels, tame inflammation, and enhance a healthy immune response. So during this series, we've been exploring how excess histamine in the body can cause some unwanted symptoms, specifically histamine intolerance and mast cell activation syndrome, or MCAS. And essential oils are an underused integrative modality, in my opinion, that offers various wellness benefits as they help to balance excess histamine levels and achieve mind-body balance. Previously, I reviewed 16 essential oils that actually work directly to lower high histamine levels and are anti-inflammatory and have immune modulating properties. Now that we did essential oils A through L, I'm going to bring in essential oils M through Z, which are 16 essential oils. And it actually ends in Y because there wasn't an oil in Z that was antihistaminic, but you get the main point. And we're going to go through those options for you today too, so that you can find your perfect match of what essential oil might help with both excess histamine levels and also match it to the specific allergic response you're having and some of the other properties that might be beneficial for you as your body is dealing with this excess histamine load. So during this video, what I want to do is I want to review the properties of essential oils that help them to mitigate high levels of histamine that are more indirect, specifically how they mitigate some of the triggers and some of the downstream effects of excess histamine levels. I want to review the 4 different types of allergic responses that these 16 essential oils can be specific for helping to mediate, and then go through the final 16 essential oils that are antihistaminic and anti-inflammatory. So if you want to get the resources and the references to this particular video and go through all of the essential oils and get a look-see yourself, you're going to want to get the link in the video description, or there'll also be the additional resources in the resource section to the accompanying blog. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's do a quick review of how essential oils aid histamine balance. Now, remember, they can do this directly and indirectly. And some of their multifaceted properties allow them to help tame the excess histamine response indirectly. And this includes the way that they act as anti-inflammatories. They are hormone and neurotransmitter modulating. They can support our mood in different ways. Remember, histamine is a neurotransmitter. Essential oils are antimicrobial. They tend to be great for digestion. They can actually enhance assimilation, elimination, protect the gastrointestinal barrier function, preventing leaky gut, and support a healthy microbiome. They act as cellular protectors, as antioxidants. They are relieving stress when the body is under a histamine attack. It's definitely stressed out. The essential oils help support detoxification of harmful compounds. Harmful compounds can be something that triggers a histamine release, and they're vagus nerve modulators, so they can calm the anxious brain down, act as vagal tonifiers, as well as calming the limbic system, which is important for somebody recovering from an overactive nervous system response from an overactive immune response. So these are some of the indirect ways that essential oils properties help to tame excess histamine. Now we'll talk about some more essential oils that are actually directly impactful that act as antihistaminic essential oils. So when I first presented this in part 1 with the first 16 essential oils, and there will definitely be a link in the video description to that post, I talked about how my source article from Creators Apothecary actually listed all 32 essential oils and what specific immune response or allergic response out of the 4 types some of these selected essential oils impact. So there's 4 types of main types of hypersensitivity reactions. There's type 1, which is what most people are familiar with, that immediate anaphylactic reaction, where your immune system over responds, usually get the hives, maybe the throat closure, etc. Type 2 is the cytotoxic reactions, where antibodies will stimulate a complement pathway. So there's another kind of inflammatory or signaling pathway in the body and this can cause damage to cellular structure. Type 3 or immunocomplex reactions include IgM and IgG antibodies that react with an allergen and they form these immunocomplexes in the body, causing an antigen antibody complex. And then type 4 or cell-mediated reactions is more of a delayed type of hypersensitivity, which is linked to delayed skin responses and some autoimmune disorders. So if you know which type of hypersensitivity or immune reaction that you have, you might want to pick an essential oil that's specific for that type. So let's go through the M through Z, or the actual M through Y, 16 essential oils for balancing excess histamine levels. The first one is one that I actually covered just a few weeks ago if you follow this channel, and that's Manuka oil. And it's known as New Zealand tea tree oil, even though it's not necessarily a Melaleuca oil, but it is from the same myrtle family. This oil can reduce the production of histamine, relax the nervous system, and reduce systemic inflammation. It's also antimicrobial and antifungal, so it can help rid our bodies of pathogens that can trigger histamine release and cause chronic inflammation and immune activation. So that's Manuka. Melissa is the next essential oil that has antihistaminic action, and it may be helpful for things such as allergies, eczema, and headaches. Neali or Melaleuca quinquenonavanea is an oil that is anti-inflammatory, anti-allergic, antihistaminic, and helpful for type 1 allergy reactions. So these include such conditions as rhinitis or nasal inflammation, atopic dermatitis or eczema, asthma, prostatitis, which is prostate inflammation, inflammatory digestive conditions, and cystitis, which is inflammation of the bladder. Nutmeg is an essential oil that does have anti-inflammatory properties as well as antihistaminic and immune regulating properties. And it's likely helpful for people with allergies and autoimmune disorders, including for Crohn's disease. Peppermint is probably a very familiar oil to most of you. It has antihispasmatic as well as anti-inflammatory and respiratory supporting properties. One of its main constituents, menthol, can help with things such as sore throats, colds and flu, asthma, bronchitis, and sinusitis. Preclinical trials have found that peppermint oil can be that antispasmodic or reducing spasms. So it could be helpful to soothe tightened respiratory muscles from coughing. And it can also aid as an expectorant to relieve congestion. Ravensara is an oil that is known to reduce allergic reactions and enhance resilience. It also acts as an expectorant. It can decrease inflammation and strengthen the lungs and respiratory tract. It's also antimicrobial and antifungal, and it contains compounds like limonene and methyl eugenol, which are supportive to the immune system. Interestingly, if you guys have followed my channel too, you'll also know I talk about mold-related illness, and Ravensara can inhibit the growth of fungus and mold and kill mold spores, according to this article. Roman chamomile is a natural antihistaminic. It's anti-allergenic and it's anti-inflammatory. Roman chamomile can help with immediate allergies. These include things like dermatitis, atopic asthma, urticaria or hives, rhinitis, which is nasal inflammation. One study did find that topical application of Roman chamomile oil could balance and prevent elevated histamine responses. And when you inhale chamomile essential oil, it's calming, which can be great for calming down the respiratory system and aid relief in things like sneezing, black sinuses, or excess phlegm. And rosemary essential oil, another famous essential oil, is histamine lowering. It actually was shown in preclinical trials to have mast cell stabilizing properties, and it may be helpful for alleviating allergic responses, relieving stress, and it does modulate the immune system. Sandalwood is our 9th essential oil, and this oil is also anti-allergenic and antihistamine properties, and it can decrease antibody reactions in the body and inhibits allergic responses and runny noses. If you recall in one of the previous videos, I talked about how sandalwood was part of an aromatherapy blend that was researched in human trials to help relieve symptoms of allergic rhinitis and to enhance the quality of life in symptom sufferers. Spikenard is our 10th essential oil, and it does have anti-inflammatory and antihistamine actions, so it can be helpful for things such as skin reactions. Spruce is number 11. It's an essential oil that's high in camphene, which is a monoterpene that's actually mucolytic, and it could be helpful for inflammatory respiratory issues. Camphene's also an antioxidant, so this could aid its therapeutic effect as protecting the cells from cellular damage. Spruce also contains two other key compounds, which are alpha-pinene and boronol acetate. And these are anti-inflammatory, antihistaminic, and analgesic, which means they're pain relieving. And then another thing that spruce has is a high content of esters, which are calming and balancing and provide antispasmodic properties. Tarragon is an oil that is also anti-allergenic and antihistaminic. It can help with type 1 allergies. So we're talking about things again like allergic rhinitis, sinusitis, asthma, dermatitis, gastrointestinal disorders, gallbladder inflammation, prostatitis, and cystitis. So a lot of itises. Whenever you hear itis, it usually means inflammation. Our 13th oil is the famous tea tree oil, which is antihistaminic and anti-allergic. It can aid in immediate allergic responses. So again, dermatitis, atopic asthma, urticaria, rhinitis, and more. Tea tree has many versatile properties. It's antifungal, anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial, immune modulating. It's been used in clinical trials and demonstrated to be effective in a variety of different conditions, including healing various skin disorders and reducing skin swelling. Thyme is another essential oil that has allergy fighting properties. It can inhibit inflammatory responses. It's good for warding off fungal and bacterial infections. It's another antispasmodic. So again, that's soothing for tissues that might be irritated. Antimicrobial, antifungal, and antiviral properties. It's one of the go-tos for my clients that I use for mold-related illness. Vetiver is a root oil, so that means it's very grounding. It can assist with balancing the immune system. It also possesses some antioxidant properties and anti-inflammatory properties, and is actually linked to the circulatory and nervous system. So any circulatory nervous system disorders, we think of grounding essential oils, roots, and enhancing circulation. Vetiver may be one to look into. Yarrow is an oil that is anti-allergenic, antihistaminic, and tissue regenerative, both mucosal, so inner linings of the different respiratory tissues, gut, and dermal tissue, so skin. It can aid in the relief of atopic eczema, dermatitis, shingles, sinusitis, ear infection, cystitis, and intestinal hyperpermeability that can be caused by food allergies. Again, the references to all of this is from Creators Apothecary. Most of these have some peer-reviewed research in clinical, or most of that is preclinical studies, but they are showing antihistaminic actions or have some support for that in the literature. So there's our last 16 essential oils just as a review. And again, there'll be a link to the actual article. So you'll have all these properties if you want that handy dandy and to look at your different oils. We have Manuka, we have Melissa, we have Neroli, we have nutmeg, peppermint, Ravensara, Roman chamomile, rosemary, sandalwood, spikenard, spruce, tarragon, tea tree, thyme, vetiver, and yarrow. So if we want to summarize, histamine serves as an essential chemical messenger and it is important and critical for numerous physiological processes, including our immune response. But we don't want too high levels because it can lead to histamine intolerance, just excess allergic symptoms, and contribute to the hypersensitivity that's associated with mast cell activation syndrome. Essential oils are an overlooked tool that plays a role in modulating histamine levels by supporting immune health and resilience. And we talked about 32 different essential oils that can have antihistaminic, anti-inflammatory, and calming properties to help mitigate symptoms related to allergic reactions and histamine-related disorders. So I went through the final 16 essential oils from M to Z or M to Y, known for their ability to support histamine balance. The other articles will be linked in the video description if you missed part 1 or any of the other videos in the histamine series. And that being said, I'd love to hear from you about your experience with using these essential oils and if you use them for an overactive histamine response and what your results were. I'd love to hear your comments. And also, please do make sure to check out some of my resources that are in the resource section. I also have some discounts on some of the blends I use in my practice, as well as free resources. You can sign up my newsletter with different announcements and things that aren't necessarily on social media or in my blog, and some other cool stuff like courses and my membership program. So be sure to check that out as well. I want to thank you for your interest in learning about the application of essential oils for achieving greater balance in your mind, body, and spirit. Wish you many blessings and to have a beautiful rest of your day.